Well, welcome back. This is Lawrence Owen with Coleslaw. We're going to go over Saturday's Week 15 matchups. Bunch of games that is absolutely worth watching. There's no Thursday night football game here. They all got moved to Saturday because of implications. They're all 7-6 outside of the Detroit Lions, right? You got the Vikings, the Bengals, the Steelers, the Colts, the Broncos, all 7-6 fighting for a playoff spot. And then, of course, you got the Detroit Lions, which already, happens to be in a playoff spot. Be lucky if they don't end up, odds are it's tough. I mean, you got the Vikings sitting right here. If they win and the Lions lose, what happens? Could be quite interesting. I appreciate each and every one of you that's joined in here. Before we get into the very first game, the 1 o'clocker, I want to ask everybody, please smash that like button, hit subscribe if you're not subscribed, tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. I'm definitely going to be doing a live game reaction to the Steelers and Colts at the 4:30 mark. But before the 4:30 mark, we have a 1 o'clock mark. That's right. We have the Minnesota Vikings and the Cincinnati Bengals. So if you want to go over the injury report right now, the fact of the matter is Alexander Mattison out of this game still, right? The wide receiver, Jalen Naylor, he's out with a concussion. Brian O'Neill, their offensive tackle, out. Got an ankle injury. The big question is Justin Jefferson. Now, he's questionable, but he had 2 limited and then finished off Thursday with a full practice. Probably will end up playing since that happened. Now, guard Chris Reed, he's also questionable. He's been sick, right? Now, he had a limited practice yesterday. So, now today, probably be okay. Tomorrow, he'll probably end up playing, I'm assuming, since it's just an illness. For the Cincinnati Bengals, they're pretty healthy considering, what you got right now. You got a couple questionable guys. Got a linebacker, Joe. He's questionable with an oblique. You got guard Jackson Carman with an illness. You got Drew Sample, the tight end, illness. They're all questionable. So we'll see what happens. Now, the questionables, I don't see, DNPs. It looks like they got the illness as of late. So we'll see what's going on. Appreciate you, Gardaki. Appreciate you being in here. All right. So walking in, with that being said, who's going to win this game, right? The Vikings are without a lot of their potential stars, right? Alexander Madison's not in here, right? Justin Jefferson may or may not play. Jalen Naylor, his backup, is out, right? Got a lot of issues. Now, defensively, they look fine. They look perfectly fine. Now, they don't have some players. I mean, obviously, Daniel Hunter's still there. Harrison Smith is still there. These guys still pretty good. Now, the Cincinnati Bengals, dude, Jake Browning has been absolutely on fire the last 2 weeks. Absolutely on fire the last 2 weeks. Okay. And Daniel Hunter is going to have to get in the backfield in order to really affect this Cincinnati Bengals offense. Because, come on, they got Boyd, Higgins, Chase, right? Joe Mixon, Chase Brown, who is kind of their speedster, the guy that no one has really saw a lot of this year, but my goodness, has been playing very, very good football when called upon, the rookie 5th rounder this past season. Look, I don't see how the Bengals do not win this game. I honestly don't. I have this game as a lockdown. It's in Cincinnati against Minnesota. Look, I mean, Minnesota has been okay, especially without, a certain quarterback. right? But how far is Nick Mullins going to take this team, right? There's been, in the past, Nick Mullins has played kind of like Jake Browning, but he's kind of fallen off as of late. Still playing pretty good, but he's going to have to do a lot. He's going to have to put up a lot of points, okay? Because this Cincinnati Bengals team is sure as heck going to put points up on Minnesota. So the way I see it, I got the Bengals winning this game easily. Now, obviously, they're going to walk into this game. It's going to be 0-0 right off the bat, okay? I should have brought this up earlier, but I didn't. I apologize. But look, by the fourth quarter, man, let me change this out so I can actually tell you exactly my predictions on this game. I see a complete and utter blowout, all right? I see a complete and utter blowout in this game. I think Cincinnati at home handles Minnesota and handles them well in front of the entire nation, right? It's going to be the only game that's on. I don't see how the Bengals don't legitimately just blow things up here and possibly cement themselves in the playoffs, especially depending upon what happens in the second game of the evening, the 4:30 game. That's a monster game. That's going to depend. That's the number 6 and number 7 playoff spot currently in the AFC. A lot of hinges on this. Who wins? Who loses? That's going to determine who's going to slip in. If Pittsburgh loses, the Colts will move up to the sixth seed. But if the Colts lose, the Colts then fall out of the playoff seeding, and someone else will probably go in, most likely, in my opinion, the Cincinnati Bengals, because they're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings. Now, in this game, the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had a lot of question marks. Both their edge pass rushers, T.J. Watt and their other guy, had concussions. They both cleared. A lot of people want to say, hey, T.J. Watt, him clearing is huge, right? But I got to tell you something, man, that he's not the only guy on that defense. Alex Highsmith, I'm telling you, dude has 6 sacks on the season as well, okay? And having a combo outside on the edge where one guy's got more sacks than games played and the other guy you're looking at, averaging about 1 sack every other game, that's impressive. Especially with the Indianapolis Colts losing, their starting right tackle's not going to be in this game, right? Braden Smith, he's out. So the Colts are going to have to find a way of either doubling down on the outside protection or getting into a quick rhythm offense, which, to be fair, Gardner Minshew is actually pretty good at that, right? Mitch Trubisky has not looked good since he's been the starter for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I've got good defense, bad offense for the Steelers. Great defense, bad offense. And a really good defense for the Indianapolis Colts. Usually, they did not show it overall on the stat sheet against the Bengals. But you take away 3 screenplays where there was bad angles, bad tackling against the Bengals, the Colts defense would have held them to under 200 yards passing. So, with that being said, I think this is a defense that is more than capable of shutting down this Pittsburgh offense and maybe even getting some turnovers. The biggest question is, like I said, can the Indianapolis Colts run the football and make the quick passing attack effective against the Pittsburgh Steelers? I think they do. I think that is something that they actually can perform. I'm sorry. I clicked the wrong thing. I've got the Indianapolis Colts winning this game, believe it or not. I think that they do a good job. I think they get a couple turnovers because that's what the Indianapolis Colts defense does as well, right? They have a crap ton of forced fumbles. They've got a bunch of interceptions. They're one of the best teams in sacks. They're great at tackles for loss. They are up there in a lot of defensive stats. And there's not really anyone, this is not a passing attack for the Steelers that really scares anybody. So I got the Pittsburgh Steelers maybe scoring 17 in this points. Now, the Colts ain't going to score 32 like the Bengals are going to do against the Vikings because the Steelers have a better defense. But I feel like the Colts will get 27. I think the Indianapolis Colts stay in the playoffs, in the playoff race, in the AFC, and lock that down. And I think your next, listings will be the Colts and the Bengals. And then determining, what happens with the Browns game determines the rest of the wild card matchups in the AFC. Because the Broncos could legitimately jump into that 7th spot, right? If they have a good game at the 8:15 match. The 8:15 matchup, man. That's going to be some serious. This is a serious game. Denver has been up and down all season. Denver has been up and down all season. I need to get into I didn't have the injury report up, so let me bring that up real quick so that we can discuss this, because oh my, why is it not there? All right, hold on. There it is. All right. So for the Denver Broncos, Nick Bonito is out. Okay, their linebacker out of this game. They have some unspecified people. PJ Locke, their defensive back, he's questionable in the game with a neck. Jonathan Cooper's unspecified. I don't know why. He had limited practice all week with an ankle. We had an illness on Quinn Miniers, but he had full practice all week. So that's a must have happened today. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. Oh my goodness. Samjay Pirine, he's dealing with a knee. Did not practice on Wednesday, but did practice yesterday full. He'll probably come in and play. You got tight end Greg Dolchik, which has a foot issue. He is out. And that's it for the Denver Broncos. And you go over to Detroit. Hendon Hooker is out. He's backup quarterback. Taylor Decker is questionable. He's got a back, but he had a full practice. I expect him to play. Benito Jones, the defensive lineman's got a neck injury. He had a full practice yesterday. Expect him to play. Frank Ragnow, the center, also dealing with like all of the injury issues. He's got a knee, a back, a toe. His tongue's probably got twisted and, might have a hangnail or something. He's got everything listed under injuries, but he had a full practice yesterday. So he's going to go. No question about that. Josh Reynolds, the wide receiver, he has been limited his last 2 practices. He's got a back injury. He's questionable. That is a legit question mark right there for the Detroit Lions. Josh Reynolds is a big player for this team. And honestly, if he misses, it's actually a bigger deal, in my opinion, than what a lot of people may actually think. Let's go now to the Lions depth chart, because look, Jared Goff has been playing really, really good football. They've got Teddy Bridgewater backing him up just in case something happens. David Montgomery's been solid for him. Amon St. Brown has been absolutely lights out. Okay. And then, of course, Aiden Hutchinson over there. He's a guy that can really put a lot on the Denvers, right? A lot on them. 1 week, for the most part this season, he has utterly obliterated right tackles all year and have made a lot of right tackles look really, really bad. Okay, he gets pressure all the time. So, with that being said, Russell Wilson, he's going to have to keep his P's and Q's, keeps his eye over to his right to make sure that if his right tackle gets beat, he is able to move, get rid of that football quick. Because if you run backwards the way Russell Wilson likes to run backwards sometimes, that's going to spell disaster for the Broncos. Absolute disaster. Yes, I understand, Gardaki. Good question. All the way back with the Colts. Is Jelani ever going to play? No, he's not going to play this year. He is on IR. They asked Shane Steichen if they expect him to play this season, and he said no. So just letting you know up front. Okay. The big thing that I'm curious about is this Denver defense, right? What defense is going to show up? Because you're going to have to lock down some guys. All right. I get it. You got Patrick Surtain over there, right? You got Fabian Moreau. He's been pretty decent. But come on. This is a game that could go either way, depending upon how well, in my opinion, Russell Wilson does. All right. You got to be able to get the ball out to your playmakers and run the football against this Detroit Lions. That's the big deal. You can run against the Detroit Lions. Okay. But in passing situations, Russell Wilson likes to hold the football. The way you get away from the Detroit Lions is get rid of that football quickly. All right. He's got to utilize Courtland Sutton and Marvin Mims quickly. All right. I get Jerry Jeudy's your slot receiver, but has Jerry Jeudy really been that guy this year? Right. That's the question. I think Mims has been a solid pickup in the second round this past offseason. Now I got to pick this game, don't I? I don't think the Broncos are going to end up winning this game. I think that Detroit will be able to handle them somewhat, but it's going to be a lot tighter than a lot of people may actually believe. It's going to be really tight. It's going to be a good game. It'll be 40. Lions will have 22, Broncos 18. That is my prediction for the Broncos at Detroit. But like I said, 3 really, really good games with all 3 of them having playoff implications. So we'll see what happens. Are you a fan of some of these teams? Now, obviously, Gardaki is a fan of the Indianapolis Colts, right? And he has dropped all of his question marks and statements right in there. But here's the deal. Are you a fan of the Vikings, Bengals, Steelers, Colts, Broncos, Lions? Did I miss something that you want to point out? Leave that in the comments for me. I'd really, really appreciate it. Gardaki did have a question or a statement here that said that Big Ben was talking some serious smack about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They might be mad. Well, they might be, but it's not the Colts talking smack about it. They might be mad at him, at Ben Roethlisberger, but not the Indianapolis Colts. Look, the biggest problem we have is that curse you're talking about right there, right? Where the Pittsburgh Steelers has beaten the snot out of the Colts year after year after year. I think we've got 4 wins against the Steelers since 1954. But that's okay. It's a new team, right? Brand new team, brand new coaching. Things change at that point. Still got to put it on. Mike Tomlin being one of the better coaches in the NFL. Now there's a lot of question marks, obviously, over, this past week with, their last game, and a lot of people upset about Mike Tomlin and think that he might be gone. Mike Tomlin ain't going anywhere. He's one of the safest coaches in the league, in my opinion. Quarterback market is crashing. Oh my goodness. All the starters are gone, right? Like half the NFL starting quarterbacks are missing. I know it's not quite half, obviously. It's more like a third, but still, that is a lot of quarterbacks, okay? So you got teams that are in a playoff hunt that are running off backup or even third string quarterbacks or even their fourth option if we're going to go over like Cleveland, right? Cleveland's dealing with their fourth option at quarterback and still sitting at fifth seed in the AFC in the playoff race, the first wild card spot. Quarterback depth has never been more important than this NFL season. And we're going to see a lot of that this game. I mean, you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Indianapolis Colts, and then you got the Bengals, right? Three of these teams, and of course, Minnesota. Literally, four of these teams are dealing with at least their second string quarterback this year. Holy crap. And they're making noise. This offseason, there'll probably be a lot of moves to get their teams trying to get solid backups just in case. But I think that's going to do it for this episode. I appreciate each and every one of you that has watched this. And if you watch this later on, please don't forget to smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time I go live or upload a video. And as you see, scrolling down here at the bottom of the screen is my donations link. All right. It is also in the chat or in the description of this video. You go check that out as well. It works just like a super chat. And even when I'm not live, I can still bring it up later. I am given all of the notifications and stuff. Any donations given, I will bring up on my next show, which would be tomorrow, legitimately, right? During my live game reaction of the Steelers at Colts. So thank you so much for all of your support. And until next time, I'm Lawrence Owen. This is Colts Law. Tomorrow, wonderful game of football. Might be my favorite day for football this week, because I think this is a better span of games than what we have for Sunday. All right. And as usual, I want you to have a good one.